Legendary manager Sam Allardyce has once said that if his name was Sam Allardyce, aka if he was German, Italian or Brazilian with an exotic name, he would have been given much more chances at the top level. While I don't think that's necessarily true in the case of Sam Allardyce, I believe it's the case with Scott Mctominay, who I believe is criminally underrated by many Manchester United fans. Now, before you roast me, before you crucify me, I can hear those keyboards clicking. Please give me a chance to make my case, okay? I am by no means saying that Scott McTominay is the best option in the long term for Manchester United in the central defensive midfield department. No, that's not what I'm saying. And I'm gonna be the first one to agree that last summer we missed a trick when we didn't go for a central defensive midfielder, right? If we had signed Varane, Sancho and a defensive midfielder instead of Varane, Sancho and Cristiano Ronaldo, we would have had a much better transfer window and a much more balanced squad. But of course we cannot dwell on the past. We have to have a growth mindset and look into the future, right? What can we do so that we can fix our problems, the problems that we currently have, the issues that we currently have in the squad? And I looked at the players that Manchester United has been linked with in the January transfer window. Those are Ruben Neves and Denis Zakaria. And just to see what the big fuss is about. Now, listen, I love those players. I respect them and I love them when they play for their clubs. But I just don't think that they are good enough for Manchester United. And the stats show that they are actually not better than Scott McTominay. Yes, Scott McTominay is better than Ruben Neves and Denis Zakaria, according to the stats. The stats are in the description box below, so you can check them for yourself. I don't want to bore you with numbers. I like my videos to be pretty straightforward, get to the point. So I'm going to talk about other things, but if you want to look at the numbers, they are in the description box below. So in every metric that defines a central defensive midfielder, Scott McTominay is either their equal or better than them. He's better than Ruben Neves in pretty much everything. There are certain areas where Denis Zakaria is slightly better, but overall, Scott McTominay holds his own when it comes to Ruben Neves and Denis Zakaria. In fact, there is only one stat where Denis Zakaria shines compared to Scott McTominay and Ruben Neves, and it's interceptions per 90. But even when I compared his stats to those from Scott McTominay in 2020-2021, which is last season when we came in second, right? Scott McTominay actually matches Denis Zakaria. That means that he has it in him, right? It's just that Manchester United is a mess right now. So obviously Scott McTominay's stats are gonna dip a little bit. But if Manchester United starts picking up form, then so will Scott McTominay. So the thing that I wanna say here is, why should we make horizontal moves? Why should we go for players like Ruben Neves and Denis Zakaria, who are pretty much similar to Scott McTominay in terms of quality, instead of going for vertical moves, right? That to me just simply does not make sense. I'll talk about Jurgen Klopp for a minute here, even though it pains me to say it and I hate Liverpool with my guts, okay? There are three transfers that have defined Jurgen Klopp's tenure at Liverpool, and those are Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, right? And with these three players, Liverpool has been patient and meticulous until they got their man. The real player who is gonna elevate exponentially the quality of the team. And I think that Manchester United right now, going forward, we have to do the same thing. So we have to only bring in players who are clearly better than the players we currently have. So if Scott McTominay is as good as Ruben Neves and Denis Zakaria based on stats, then why should we go for any one of them, right? Now, some people say that, well, in the case of Denis Zakaria, for example, where he was available for 6 million, but I always can't stress enough this point, which is opportunity cost. Let's look at it this way, okay? If you bring in Denis Zakaria, now we already have Nemanja Matic, Fred, and Scott McTominay, right? Nemanja Matic and Fred are on £120,000 a week. Zakaria is coming to Manchester United. He's 25. He's going to want a big contract, right? Which means he's going to ask for around £200,000 a week, which Manchester United will give him because many of our first team players are around that amount, right? If you have a situation like this, where you have Zakaria, Matic, Fred, and Scott McTominay, that means that for the next 2 to 3 years, that's it. Your defensive midfield position is set in stone. You cannot add anyone else. Why? Because Matic's contract expires in 23 and Fred's contract expires in 2024, but there is no way you're going to move those two. Nobody's going to buy them and nobody's going to get them on loan unless you heavily subsidize their wages, right? But if we wait until the summer, there are actually 3 world-class defensive midfielders out of many who can be available. Let's look at them one by one. Let's start with Aurélien Tchouaméni. This one is very fast from Monaco. There's going to be a bidding war for him. He's definitely leaving Monaco this summer. Real Madrid are interested. Many clubs are looking at him, and I think he's a top player. But let's look at Declan Rice for a minute. Out of Arsenal, Spurs, Manchester United, and West Ham. West Ham are the least likely to make it to the Champions League spots next season, right? If that happens, Declan Rice is going to have a conversation with West Ham because he's not a kid anymore. So he might just go to the board and be like, listen, I am one of the best players in the league. I deserve to play in the Champions League. So please let me go. Okay. And if you've seen his press conference, his interview with the press right after the game against Manchester United, he said that it was his dream and he enjoyed playing at Old Trafford. That was him flirting. he's not smooth at all, right? So he's flirting with us. Come and get me. That's what he's doing, right? And so I can see West Ham doing business this summer. Definitely. I mean, if they don't make it to the Champions League, they will be inclined to sell. Another option is Frenkie de Jong. Now, Barcelona are currently 5th in La Liga, and it's not a guarantee that they'll make it to next year's Champions League. And their financial situation is really bad. If they don't make it to the Champions League, that's just going to be amplified even more. And Frenkie de Jong is one of their highest earners, right? And he's one of their most sellable assets. So it makes more sense for them to sell him rather than sell Gavi or Pedri, the La Masia products, for example, right? And so he could be an option for Manchester United. But what's interesting about this is that a player like Declan Rice or Frenkie de Jong would straight up walk into our starting lineup and instantly elevate the level. Like it's night and day compared to what we currently have, right? And compared to what Denis Zakaria would bring and compared to what Ruben Neves would bring. So this is how we should look at these transfers. We should not just panic and buy someone just to say, okay, that's it. We just got a central defensive midfielder, but we have to make sure that this guy is actually better than what we have. Scott Mctominay is better than them, then we don't need them. Let's get someone who Scott Mctominay will look at and be like, yeah, this guy deserves a starting spot instead of me, right? And that guy is someone like Frenkie de Jong or Declan Rice, for example, okay? Now, the second reason why I really like Scott McTominay is because of his personality. Do you know how much he earns per week? Scott McTominay is on £30,000 per week. Nemanja Matic, Fred, and Van de Beek are on £120,000 a week. Pogba is on £300,000 a week. Sancho, £350,000 a week. And yet, you never hear him complain. I don't even know who his agent is. Mino Raiola is like my brother now. You know, I read about him every day. I have no idea who Scott McTominay's agent is. He doesn't flirt with other clubs in order to put pressure on Manchester United to get a new deal. No, he just gets on with it. He puts his head down, works in training, tries to learn as much as possible, does his best, rolls his sleeves up, and works hard for the team. And he provides a whole wide range of qualities in midfield. He's happy to be in the substitute bench. He's happy when he starts. He just tries to improve as much as possible. And these kind of players, you know, they are rarer now. They're much rarer than they used to be, right? And he's an academy product. He's a kid who is extremely professional, extremely down to earth, and plus he's a role model. And boy, do we need role models at Manchester United right now. Okay? So all in all, Scott McTominay is extremely underrated, but he's a boy who provides a lot of qualities in the midfield at Manchester United, and he's a player who can evolve and grow even more. Another example with Liverpool is Jordan Henderson. When he used to play for Sunderland, he was just a regular kid, nothing special about him. Liverpool signed him, and we made fun of them because they thought that he was Steven Gerrard 2.0, and he was not spectacular at all. But then when Klopp came in, and as his vision started taking shape at Liverpool, so did Jordan Henderson grow as a player until he became one of the best midfielders in the world right now, which he is. And so Scott McTominay is a late bloomer. He only came into the scene when he was 20. We didn't learn about him when he was 16 or 17 in the academy. And so he's a late bloomer. So he's someone who, when he's going to be 28, 29, that's when we will truly start to see how good of a player he is. And so just support the guy. You know, I mean, if we have to spend 4 more months with Scott McTominay as a defensive midfielder, I'm happy with that. I mean, I don't see any problem with that because there are no better options. In the summer, we're going to have a different conversation. But for now, go McSauce. Give me some McSauce anytime, okay? Now, guys, so if you have any different opinions, listen, even if you don't agree with me, please make sure to post a comment in the comment section below. That's why I started this video, is to have a conversation with fellow football and Manchester United fans. And in the meantime, please give Scott McTominay all the love that he deserves. Cheers.